Good afternoon, everyone. We have with us today Dr. Subarna Bose, a pointer of 1979 batch and the founder of IIHM, known to us as one of the best hospitality management educator all over the world. So, Dr. Bose,
Hello.
hello. Welcome you to the show, which is PBF Showcase. Like, we all are from Pointer, South Point, proud pointers, all of us. And we are here today to introduce you and to know you. We are doing a face-to-face interview to know you properly. My first question to you would be, you have started your career, I won't say career, you started off as a teacher, as a trainer of a CA tutorial unit. Then it was management school, Indian Advanced Management School, and then it's IIHM, the IIHM spread globally almost. So what made you stay in the training sector for so long?
Yes, so basically it's quite a story actually, because I became a chartered accountant when I was 22 and a half, and no one in the world would give me a job or a work. And I never wanted to work for anyone else, so I wanted to work for myself, so I started my own practice. For about 2.5 years, I practiced with a great deal of failure and unsuccessful state. So that was actually the most important phase of life. When you are a chartered accountant, people expect you to do well. People expect you to go and join multinational, which my friends did. And you don't want to join a multinational, you want to do something of your own. And people don't give you a job because you are too young to sign balance sheets. So still we get some job, but then those jobs were very boring and very frustrating. You kind of tend to sit outside the room of an income tax officer for 5 hours, and after that he don't see you. And then, so that 2.5 years of a practicing chartered accountant, that I think is very defining, because you start feeling that life is not about getting a qualification or getting a degree. Life is about working hard and working smart. So obviously we need to earn some money, so I started teaching CA, and first in the Institute of Chartered Accountants and then in my own home, and it was doing quite well actually. So when it was doing well for about 1.5 years, so I was still doing practice in the morning and evening. I was still teaching a lot of students. Of course, I realized that it needs to be structured education. It cannot be kind of a private tutor. I never wanted to be a private tutor for life. Although, to be honest, it was a lot of money at that time. And especially when you were young and you were not doing for anything much in the practice. So
30 to 35 students a batch for 7 days a week is quite a lot.
yes, it was.
I read that.
It was. And so I dabbled with a lot of things actually. I dabbled with a lot of things, and a lot of things work, a lot of things don't work. And that's, I think, a typical journey of an entrepreneur. You dabble with 10, 20 things. And like one of the things which I was quite successful, I'll talk about that. I started Calcutta's first teacher school.
Okay.
Yeah, that was after I formed the IAM, and then IAM courses were getting ready and all. And I started, which is called IAM Teachers School. So I saw an ad in the Sunday Times, which was an Bombay publication, and I saw something that classified. It used to be a very thick newspaper at that time. Mumbai Teachers Bureau. Started seeing what is that. So I called up these people and found out that they actually are giving home tutors. And I thought it's great, because there's no home tutor organized sector in Calcutta. And every Bengali parent would like their children to be tutored at home. Physics, maths, chemistry, history. People will come and teach at home, right? And they don't know how to get a home tutor. So they will ask friends, or father's friend or mother's aunt's friends. So I put in a couple of ads. At that time, the most important and famous newspaper Statesman. Yes, I'm sure you all grew up with Statesman and learning English from there. So I started with the ads in the Statesman in the educational column, and it was very good. In fact, the day the first ad came, I went to office after my tuitions and all, teaching students at around 12, and I saw almost 10 people there waiting, because at that time people used to come physically to see. But I gave my address 37 by 1 the Hajira Road, which was a business center which I hired actually, where I started my life, next to the Swagat restaurant in the Hajira Road. So I was pleasantly surprised. I thought they have not come for me. So the receptionist lady said that they are all for you. Why you have come? So no, we have given an ad. So it started quite well, and I used to do at least about average 50 placement per day. We used to place 50 teachers per day, and my model was very simple. I don't used to take money from the person who is appointing, and we used to take the money for a teacher. So you are getting a teacher and you are getting it free. So the teacher used to pay us 1 month salary. So the deal was that the person who is appointing the private teacher is paying the first month's salary to us. So it worked quite well actually for 2 years, and then I stopped the business. I quit it.
Why? Why did you?
Yes. So again, as an entrepreneur, you find that you are utilizing your time, because there are 2 things in the world which I believe are the sheer luxury. I mean, don't ask me in a rapid fire. I'll tell you now. 2 things in life which are the sheer luxury, the most important thing in life. One is the time, and one is space. So space and time are the 2 most important elements of life, right? And I thought that I am wasting my time doing something which can be done by someone else. So I can use this time, because by the time I formed IAM and we are into Salt Lake and we are getting good students, we are into a structured institutional education system. So this Teachers Bureau looked like, okay, there's some money in it, but you have to sacrifice something to get something bigger, although you lose that money. And when I stopped it, you won't believe, for next 10 years, there people used to call, because there were land numbers, and okay, can I get a teacher please? You have stopped it, can you still use to, even we give teachers to some of the biggest people in the country, in the city. So that was a great story, I think, about a Teachers Bureau. And after that, what is very, very satisfying for me, today in Calcutta there must be about 100 Teachers Bureau. They all came and copied me, and I'm so happy about it. Following me, and I came out of the business, but they flourished. Which is such a great thing, because to see the entrepreneurs, young people flourishing in Calcutta is something which, so I still sometimes see and kind of call them. Little they know that I started it all actually and left it.
And I guess the concept you had about the teachers paying you 1 month salary
Yeah.
is still being followed by the placement sets. They
Same,
do it that way.
Same.
Yeah. So whoever is hired, the company
Absolutely.
has to pay.
So I started this IAM in 1989 on April Fool's Day, 1st April. So I started with 13 students.
And that's our Founders Day also.
That's our Founders Day. Our Founders Day, South Point Founders Day. And it's a strange coincidence. So, and then of course we started, next batch was very good. We got into 40s, and then in 94 I started IIHM. So the reason why I started IIHM was also very logical, because at that time we got something called AICT approval. So at that time AICT is a new thing in India, and they were actually writing to us, please take our affiliation. It's the other way around now. And then I took the affiliation of AICT, but then they said that you cannot take more than 60 students. I was getting 200 students. So what to do? I can't, as a businessman, I cannot really refuse. So I created a mirror institution, which is called IIHM. Little did I realize at that time it will become a much bigger institution than IAM. But IAM still exists, still doing quite well.
Yeah, IIM still exists.
Yes,
right.
yeah. But IIHM have flourished in its own way. And to come up to your story about IIHM, we started in Calcutta for the first 10, 12 years we were in Calcutta. Then I took the brand to Gurgaon, and later shifted to Delhi. Then I took the brand to Goa, which is still one of our most prized campus with 28 acres of hotel and the campus together, which was the second hotel. The first hotel, of course, is the Hindustan Hotel in Salt Lake Sector 5, and the first hotel campus of IAM. So the success of IAM was basically because of the concept of a hotel and a college coexisting in a single premises. So the students are getting education and they're also doing on-the-job training in the hotel. In a commercial hotel where people are coming and staying, it's like a 100-room hotel in Calcutta, about 34 villas hotel in Goa, and at that time we had a hotel in Gurgaon as well. So this experience nobody was doing. There was a hotel in Manipal where they have a hotel management college as well, but then that was also not attached. But then in Eastern India, that was the first thing. So people got very, excited about the idea of being working in a hotel and learning hotel management inside a hotel. It's almost like a medical college and hospital together. When you learn in a medical college and then you come with your seniors and see the patients in the evening. Yeah, so that is actually what made our student a champion, because they're actually dealing with the paying guests. People who are actually paying, they're cooking for them, they're serving them, they're in the front office, they're taking the calls. So I remember when they used to join the month of July, by end of August, we put them in the front office and say, take the calls. So, so
it's
their
like
confidence, it's a huge confidence when you actually take a call and we say, don't say hello, don't say things like that, say like, well, in this part of the how may I help you? So their lingos change, their body language change, their etiquettes change, the entire way of their physical grooming change. So this was, I think, the very important point that we could relate the hospitality industry and the hotel management education. Most of the college, I see that the students have no idea about what being taught because they assume. Here they have been taught inside a real hotel, so they don't assume anything. If they know that, a cup is made like this, this space is for the cookies, they know that this space is for the cookies. And they know that this is how I do and they are serving this. So they will never forget that in a hotel, if you are giving a VIP guest tea, give with a cookie. Don't give a tea without a cookie. And preferably give in a plate like this. So all these small thing makes them very professionally trained. Yeah. And of course after that in 2008 and 2009 we went for a kind of a huge expansion. Like I went absolutely mad because we opened Pune, we opened Bangalore, we opened Jaipur, we opened Ahmedabad, and then after 1 year we opened Hyderabad. Like it was like crazy. 5 campuses we opened together almost within 15 months.
Oh.
Yes, so that was like crazy time, but then that helped because all the campus came together. We could manage with the resources, common resources. Yeah, so it was good, and every campus did well. That's by the time brand has been established. So right now we have got in East we have got Calcutta, Guwahati for IAM. We get in the south we have Bangalore and Hyderabad, which are our very marquee campus. North we have got Delhi and Jaipur. Delhi is also one of our biggest campus. In the west we are very strong. We have got Pune, Ahmedabad and Goa. And Goa, Pune are very big campus. Ahmedabad is not that big, but still we take about 150 students per year. And we've got Bangkok, which is now 12 years old, which was a joint venture with one of the biggest universities in Bangkok, which is very big. Bangkok is very big. It's a joint venture with Kasem Bonding University. And we get students from all over the Southeast Asia. So it's absolutely, and right now we have just opening in Singapore, possibly in the next couple of months, and by January we should be in Mongols. So right now the expansions are going overseas.
I saw something is there in Uzbekistan also.
And something there was Uzbekistan, I forgot to tell you that. In Samarkand, that was very interesting because we actually attended one international education conference where our friend was there, the ambassador of Uzbekistan in Delhi. So since we're in the hospitality industry, all the consul general ambassadors all are very well connected with us, especially in Delhi. And then they approached us. So they actually approached and they asked us to go. And so it's an MOU with the government of Uzbekistan. Yeah, so they gave us their own big university in Samarkand, which is ours now. So we are co-sharing it with the existing university.
Okay.
Yeah, and there are other two colleges I have also given, one from South and one Amity. Amity is running MBAs, South one running engineering, we are running hospitality. So it's very good. And every student is an Uzbekistani student, the language is English, and the government is responsible for the recruitment of the student. We don't need to do anything.
Okay.
Yeah, so
That's
very good
great.
model. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And there are a lot of scholarship that government gives, they come here. And we are doing well. We just started program because when we started, the COVID started. So we're doing online now.
So it's simply awe-inspiring, I guess, because when I had him delivering a speech in a like conclave we had, he shared with us the journey of opening the campus at Bangkok.
Yes.
So that was really great, and I was so inspired. I thought of writing to him, but I didn't. I couldn't, gain that much courage. So what I can make out of whatever you say, Dr. Bose, it's your intention to be a true mentor. So that's what kept you in the training industry for so long, I
Absolutely.
guess.
And in a way, like I'm possibly a very modern entrepreneur in a way, because I'm not a classical entrepreneur. A classical entrepreneur generally stick to their own domains, and they're really hesitant to go out of their own domain. Like, even the traditional ones, even the big people, big players, But I actually also ventured out, and right now we are into IT. We have done 3 startups in the last 1 year after COVID. We are doing care home, which is like assisted living for the urban elders, which should be about 50 of them in 50 cities, which is like a new age old age home, but not that typical old age home. It's a very happiness kind of a place for people whose parents are abroad. So we are converting a lot of hotels. Actually, we're picking up a lot of hotels and converting them into old age homes, and that is called the golden
It's
age.
a wonderful concept.
Yes,
once again.
because these people have got money, they want support, they want friends to talk to, because they don't have anybody to talk to excepting they wait for a telephone call from their children, and safety, because after COVID everybody got very scared about the safety. I mean, even getting a vaccination in the early days of vaccine started was like you give a queue, you stand there for hours.
Absolutely.
It's very difficult for the old people. So here we take all the responsibility, and it's urban, which means somebody who is in, let's say, Kolkata, would not really go to Barashat or Shantiniketan. He said, for 60 years I have been here, I don't want to be uprooted. So I have made this center in Kolkata, in the middle of Kolkata, not in the, outside Kolkata or suburb. We have got in Mumbai, we have got in the middle of the main city. So you stay where you belong to, because your friends, your relatives, your dentist, your favorite restaurant, possibly you can go everywhere. Yeah, and people are appreciating that, because people at that age feel very insecure and to be uprooted to a new place where they don't
Very
know
lonely too.
only. So we have got this kind of concept now coming up. The first one opening next month in Calcutta and one in Hyderabad.
Okay.
So we are opening about 50 of them.
Wow.
We're also doing a new thing in the field of preschool, which is EdTech. It's a technology. So for all the children, we are coming up with a tech platform where they can come back home and they can do a lot of activities, and possibly assisted by NLP voice Alexa. So there's an Alexa coming for kids. So with the Alexa kids, we are synchronizing this app. So they say maybe a particular pronunciation, and then Alexa through the app says, no, this is not a pronunciation, you pronounce it like this. So they learn a lot actually.
They learn a lot.
Yeah.
So you'll be catering to all the age groups, right? From
Yes.
the preschool children
Yeah.
to the
Old
elder
people.
people.
Old people.
Oh, that's
Yes.
wonderful. That's really great.
So these things keeps us going actually. For an entrepreneur, they also get very bored after a few days.
Absolutely.
Once something is done and and then what's next?
What's next? And
So
you
that's
need
important.
new things, new inspirations in life. to
Absolutely,
go on.
absolutely. And if you can do something that can solve a problem, that can give this is a problem which I saw a lot of my own friends who are abroad. And they used to say, okay, can you help me? Can you get my parents to take them to vaccination? I did a lot of them, but I thought this is an opportunity. If there is a structured house from them where they can call their home, not a old age home, but their own home, with a lot of, even we are putting a bar there. So they can go and have a drink, have a wine or a beer or something.
So anything you want.
Yeah, it's not that we have to be like an old age. So we call it golden age. So you can actually enjoy that big screen for movies. We'll get a couple of our students to go there every other day to talk with them, serve them food.
And you get
celebrate
same age friends, like-minded people,
Absolutely.
and a different community.
Absolutely. And safety. They will feel very secure. There will be a nurse there 24/7. They feel very safety. If something happens, if I don't feel unwell, there is somebody is there. We got a doctor. We are getting a big hospital chain attached. So ambulance will come in maybe 15 minutes, which will not be the case if the couple stay of their own. They don't know where to call us. So this is like will give a solution. Very, very interesting.
Wonderful thing. So let me ask you a different question. Like during the pandemic, all of us, like it affected us so
Yes.
very badly. So are your students affected, or like you have been able to do everything online and everything is well?
Of course, they're affected because hospitality is something which cannot do everything online. We can do only maybe 50%, 60% online. Rest have to be something offline because hospitality is all about people. It's about people, it's about cooking, it's about service, it's about wine testing. So you cannot do all things online, but we tried our best. We did a lot of the cooking things. Initial couple of months we are still thinking, and then we came up with the idea of cooking with me. So our chef is cooking, and we used to give the recipe before. So they will buy the ingredients and they will cook from the home with our chef together on the Zoom. So it's like
Giving them inspiration.
so they can still cook. They can ask, oh, my thing's getting burned, my thing. So it's a class. Absolutely, we're going live together with the chef. The chef cooking from here, and they are cooking from home together.
From home.
Same thing we did with cocktails. We did with mocktails. Of course, tasting becomes a problem at home because but then we manage. But I will say that we could only do up to that. There has been issues where students felt that they're missing the action because we are into hospital. It's like a doctor or an engineer who cannot do everything online. We did a lot of things, but I think the student did suffer because of this. But now we are getting back into action. Excepting Pune and Calcutta, all our campuses are open now, and all physics classes going. So we are doing a lot of practicals, whatever they have missed out in the second year, third year. So we are doing almost morning from 8 to 8. So we are doing double practicals now. So they will not miss anything.
They will
when
not
come
miss
to
it.
Yes. Unfortunately, we're waiting for a date.
So I'll say all is well.
All is well in a way.
Yeah, as much as can be done.
As much as can be
for
managed.
them.
Absolutely.
So now let's come to a very important question, very important for us pointers, like so many pointers must be watching this. So do you think, Dr. Bose, you have been into so many things, you have been all over the world almost, do you think pointers, we meet pointers everywhere. Wherever you go, you meet one pointer.
Absolutely.
So do you think pointers have a different edge over other professionals you meet in the same
Yes,
area?
I think you are right. I think so. Because I think one is that the academics were very strong in the school, which actually when we were in school we used to always complain because academics has been very tough as you compare with other school. Like I remember when we were in the class 9 and 10, we have been taught almost 11 to a level of physics and all. So academic was strong, and that's the reason when we went to our class 10 exam or 12 exam, the exam become very easy. So that foundation I think is very important. So you need to really study, yeah. And I think we have some fantastic teachers, which is very important. They are legends actually. People like ADG, Ashubabu, they're all legends. Even IG in Rangoha, he used to teach English. I mean, he was such I owe everything about whatever I learned about English to Mr. Goa. So he was fantastic. So one is the academic was strong, one is the people, the faculty, the teachers were very strong, very loving. They wanted the student to learn, and I think the co-curricular activities were very strong. That was very good. The sports. I was never a sports in a school that way, but yeah, I always used to accompany my other team, cricket team in St. Thomas ground and all. I went there quite a number of times. So that gives a lot of confidence. When you go out of the school and meet other people, talk with them, you grow as a person. So that growing as a person, I think, is equally important as much you grow academically. And that's the same thing I do for the IIHM. We give them almost 50-50. 50% learning inside the classroom, 50% learning outside. I mean, one of my favorite quote, which I quote in all the platform I talk, is from Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi said that literacy is not the end of education. Literacy is not the end of education. It's not even the beginning. So education is not equal to literacy. We go, we teach, we give a degree, that is not education, that's literacy. Education is far, far beyond that. And that's exactly we believe that. Like it's about, like we have got something called food soldiers. About 5,000 students of IHM all over the country, they are food soldiers. So they go in different parts of the country and they serve food to the underprivileged, not once, not twice, it's almost throughout the year. It is a pre-COVID thing. COVID time we did a lot more. That's what I'm saying. So we call ourselves food soldiers. So the hospitality comes from humanity and humility. Because they are going to be hospitality managers, hospitality professionals. So first of all, they need to learn hospitality from the heart. So that is the way they go, and I've seen so many young kids who have never seen the world. When they go for as a food soldier and go to the poor people, and then they see, they feel how fortunate they are. And their hospitality comes from within, you know.
From within.
So they learn much more there than they learn in the classroom.
Inside the classroom.
Because in the classroom it's very kind of elitist. But they're inside a basti, in a slum, almost in the rain, in the mud, and they enjoy it, they love it. And that changes their way of looking at the world, that changes their mindset, they become much more humble, and humility is the DNA of hospitality. So we can create more hospitable human being, more hospitable young people. So this is education. This is education, you know. I mean, when we do our Young Chef Olympiad, which is the biggest culinary event in the world, entire our 9,000 students of all campus, they are involved. They handle these foreigners, they involve the Michelin star judges, the chefs who comes, young chef from 50 countries, 60 countries, that kind of experience they get. And it's a huge diversity. And these people they meet, they are in connection. They are on the emails, they are on a WhatsApp group. So they are actually exposed to the world. So if they are friend to a guy who came from France, this guy from France makes sure he gets an internship in France. The networking is fantastic. And the way that becomes much more of an education. So we have got another word in IHM where we peg our student to create a brand. We call a brand called you. We tell every student a brand called you. So every student is a brand. And we take them to create a brand of their own. Right from the LinkedIn profile to every time they want to go take a selfie with a celebrity, put it in a LinkedIn, create a brand, which is you as a student. So I think this education is a very important part of our industry. Maybe not as a doctor or an engineer, but for hospitality it's very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
So that's what education is all about, and we all love our school. We are
Absolutely.
all from South Point, and that's our basic love. And we are from Pointers Business Forum community.
Yes.
So Dr. Bose, is there anything you have in mind for the PBF community where only the pointers can be put in together, bring in together, and if we can do something together?
Absolutely.
Is there anything?
I think we got very excited when we did a conclave, and then I was actually talking with Arnav also. We are planning some conclave in the near future. I think we can do a lot of things together. We have got so many of talent, so much of talent, so much of experience, and so much of people who are experienced and who are young. So we can bring all these young people who are very enthusiastic, they have got more energy than us, and we can also, on the wisdom of people like us and all the other people, I think we can create some fantastic annual events. We can create, each month we can do an annual event. Like maybe 1 month we can do on a leadership, 1 month we can do on music, 1 month we can do on culture. Each month we can do something and different people can do that. That way we can involve different people. And I think networking, I think is very important in life. For example, one of my batchmate, a couple of years younger than me, Devashish, he stays in Singapore. And so he came during COVID and we just having a couple of drinks and he said, would you like to open in Singapore? I said, yes. And that day we decided we opening in Singapore. And already the company is formed in Singapore the day before yesterday. With Devashish and me as partners. So that's the pointers, power of pointers. No?
Power of pointers.
Yeah. And I think next month we are going to start classes.
Okay,
IIT
that's
Singapore.
great.
Yeah, so that's how you network and you take very agile decision. You can't think about something for long. You decide and that's it. You kind of go for it 100%.
Go for it 100%.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think like we have a very strong pointer connect. So as soon as we hear that he's from, oh, you're from South Point, which batch? And then we are connected. Mentally we match. So that's a wonderful thing. We have come to an end, like we have to finish it off. And I'll go for a rapid fire round and I'll ask him 5 questions.
Sure.
And you can choose.
Sure.
That's your choice, sea or mountain?
See, any day.
Bollywood films or Hollywood films?
Bollywood.
Acha, as your like vacation destination for vacation, you prefer India or abroad?
India.
Education in India is good or outside the country is good?
Difficult to say, but there are some education which in India is very good, but I think we are learning. We are learning. So now a lot of education in India is equally good actually.
Who will you put forward? You as a common man or as a business person?
Common man.
That's wonderful. That was expected from you, and I'm very, very grateful to Dr. Subarna Bose for giving us so much time, and we are very grateful to him. I'm extremely thankful to Arnav. He's here with me today to give me all the support and whatever I needed. So I hope all of us, all of you will enjoy this show, and do keep watching our YouTube channel. Do keep supporting PBF and Pointers Rock.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Reena. Thank you.